Offside Ref! Welcome back to In From The Side, our first show of 2025. I'm here with my big mate, Matthew Rhodes, my partner in crime. Matthew.
G'day, Brad.
Cheers to a new year.
Yes, front row boykies.
My front row partner.
Yeah, in crime. We had a festive Christmas, both of us together.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it was lovely. Welcome to the show, to all the people watching. We're a rugby show about our opinions. Why do we do this? We know less than some and maybe more than others, and we enjoy the banter and the getting together. And so this is a show about our opinions, what we see week to week in rugby, and on occasion we put together the show that we're going to have today, which is a show about our best Springboks of the professional era.
Yeah.
But before we get to that, some rugby of this year.
Yeah, we are going to pick our best Springbok side because it's been such a debatable topic. I see a lot of people have done it. There's arguments across the globe about who the best South African side of all time was. Was it the 2009 side? Was it the 2007 side under Jake White? Is it Rassie and Jacques Minauber's team? So we've taken a stab at picking our best Springbok side of all time. There are some caveats which we'll get to later, but it's going to be a fantastic year. The show hopefully is going to continue to grow. We've had some great support in 2024. Thank you to everybody that's watched this channel and supported us on all the social media platforms, on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, and especially on YouTube. We really do appreciate the support, but it's going to be a great year. The Six Nations are starting soon. Super Rugby starting soon. We're in full swing in the URC. This week, it's the European Champions Cup again. Sharks are playing Toulouse. That's going to be an exciting game. We've got the Boks going to New Zealand for a doubleheader. And, of course, the British and Irish Lions series, which is going to be epic.
Down under.
They're touring Australia. So,
Mate,
lots to look forward to. I'm already
good.
salivating.
Yeah, tasty morsels of rugby all around, which is exactly why we do this show. This year is going to be full of amazing rugby all throughout, and all the cup tournaments and all the tours that are happening. So we're looking forward to it.
It is going to be juicy, and I'm looking forward to that first test at Eden Park, mate.
Yeah,
I mean, we haven't played them there in 12 years, and they've got a record to defend, and that's why they set us up to play the first test there. It's going to be epic. But before we get to that, talking about the Springboks, like we said, we took a stab at picking our best Springbok side of all time. Now, of all time is really debatable because the Springbok team goes back to 1889, right? That's when South African rugby started, and the first Springbok side was selected in 1891. Obviously, you don't have any footage of any of the players that played over a century ago, and we also felt that it's not necessarily fair to compare players from the professional era versus players from the amateur era. We know that there's fantastic legends that played in the amateur era, the Frick de Preers and Dani Gerbers and Nas Botas. They're out of contention. This is a professional team that we've selected. So really from 1995 when the game went professional. So it really is the last 30 years, the last 3 decades of Springbok rugby.
And to support the information and the knowledge that I have, or at least the depth of knowledge that it goes back to, whereas if we were looking at the information that you have as the rugby oracle, it would be all of those individuals and more. So I think you've thrown me a bone on this one.
Yeah, but also, I mean, you can't compare professional athletes to amateur athletes. You know, in the amateur days, the guys did 1 or 2 practice sessions a week. These guys do it 365 days a year. You just get a different level of athlete. So we're sticking to the professionals. And then if this kicks off and it opens up hopefully a little bit of a debate, because that's what these things do. It opens up debate. People will argue. People will say, well, how could you pick player X and Y and why not, somebody that they want to see in the team? If it kicks off, then we'll do the All Blacks, we'll do the Aussies, we'll do England, and we'll see how it goes.
We'll do any particular team that our the followers want us to do and to focus in on. And as I said, it's an opinion-based show on rugby. These are our opinions, but we want to hear yours as well. So please do make the comments, like, share, get your friends talking as well.
Yeah, and tell us who you would have selected. So let's get into it. Let's start with the back 3. Matt, we're gonna select our team, our starting 15. We're gonna pick a bench of 8 players because currently, there's 23 players in a squad. And then we'll also pick a coach to coach this Springbok side that's going to take on a fantasy overseas team at Ellis Park, in a hypothetical universe. So back 3, Matt, who did you pick? Fullback and wings.
Fullback and wings. So I went fullback Percy Montgomery.
Mm-hmm.
And there were my heartstrings were being tugged because as a Sharks fan, Andre Hubert was like the one that I wanted to put down, the Rolls Royce as he was known as. But you can't get away from Percy's record. 102 caps, 893 points. Yeah, I had to go with the man. So the blonde bombshell that is Percy Montgomery, he's my number 15. Cheslin Colby at 14 and Brian Habana at 11.
Okay, I'm differing in one position. I picked Habana and Colby on the wings. I think they're by far the two best and most consistent wings that we've had. I think people forget how good Brian Habana was. His try-scoring record speaks for itself. We know what Cheslin Colby can do. He's in the prime of his career. I'm actually sad that he made his debut as late as 25. You know, I would have loved to see him play 50 tests already by now.
I was surprised that he's only played 39 tests. 111 points, 39 tests.
Exactly.
And he seems to have just had such a stamp on this team and world rugby and the influence that he's had. It seems that he's been playing for years. And it's, you know, as you say, he came into the game quite late.
So we agree on the wings. We don't agree on fullback. At fullback, I didn't go with Percy. I had to make space for Francois Steyn in the team.
Okay.
And I went with Steinke at 15. I think that year in 2009, when we beat the All Blacks 3-0, we beat the British and Irish Lions. We won that series. He was playing fullback. He gives you a lot of versatility and options in the back line. He can cover 12. He can cover wing. He made his debut at wing.
Yeah.
Can cover fly off. He kicks the ball a mile.
Played centre a couple of times.
Played centre. So, you know, there's backup. And if you look at my team, we're going to go through the whole list. I sort of went with versatility. So that's the theme. Taking nothing away from Percy, taking nothing away from Willie Leroux, who's almost 100 caps.
Yeah.
He deserves a mention, but I went with Steinke. That boot, man.
Francois Steyn, 78 caps, 168 points. Like, amazing. You won't get any pushback from me. At the end of the day, he's someone hard to leave out of the team.
Yeah, mate, we don't have to agree. And I'm sure there's people in the comment section that's going to say, what about Andre Hubert? You know, what about somebody else that we might not have thought about? Okay, so that's the back three. Very few arguments there. What does your midfield look like?
Midfield was it's tough. It
was a tough one.
It was a tough gig. 12 and 13, I've gone with tried and tested Jean de Villiers and Jacques Fourie. So Jean de Villiers, obviously, his record speaks for itself. 109 caps, 135 points. Also, the versatility's there. He started on wing, can play centre. His captaincy was outstanding, both at provincial level and at Springbok level. His ability to read the game from centre was outstanding. Pace as well, which is why he could play on the wing. But how many tries did he get from intercept? Like, amazing.
He did read the game well.
Yeah. So I think as a thinking man's rugby player, he got the spot. And then obviously Jacques Fourie, similar. 72 tests, 160 points. It was tough, eh? There were so many people putting their hand up for those positions, but I think that in itself, is a fantastic record. The two of them playing together in those positions, they were a fantastic team together as well.
Yeah.
So I went with the pairing, but hard to leave out Damien and Jesse.
It was super tough. I mean, you're going with World Cup winners in Jean de Villiers and Jacques Fourie, although Jean got injured in 2007, but he was part of the squad.
Yeah.
And then two-time World Cup winners in Jesse Kriel and Damien de Allende. And Damien, I just need to pause there for a second. I think he's one of the most underappreciated players
100%.
in world rugby. Doesn't get the credit he deserves. He's a fantastic, fantastic player. And he's got an underrated passing game. But I also...
Rato is one of the best, within the Springbok team, as one of the best passers in
exactly.
the team. 87 tests, 55 points, 2 World Cups. Like, the boy is a mountain.
So I went with Damien at 12, I went with Jacques Fourie at 13. Okay. So I broke up that combo. I didn't necessarily go with combinations. In this team, I was looking number for number, position, every position on the field, who was the standout player. And so difficult to pick between him and Jean de Villiers. Jean de Villiers is a legend, Springbok captain, over 100 tests. How do you leave someone like that out? Super difficult, but I felt Damien deserves
His crack.
the credit that he doesn't always get.
Fair play. Two World Cups over, as you say.
Yeah.
One. But for me, and this will be a consistent theme in my team that I picked today, I've gone with leadership. I think I said this to you off air. And so Jean de Villiers, the fact that he was captain, he's a strategic rugby player. His record of tests and points and his versatility and the captaincy, that's what pipped it for me.
Yeah, fair call. Can I just make one special mention, please? A guy who I really, really liked when I was in high school was Andre Snyman at 13.
Yeah.
We know how good Lukanya, Jesse Creel, all these guys are in with a shot, but someone people forget about was Andre Snyman. And at his best, he was
phenomenal.
World-class. He was phenomenal.
That was one of the hardest positions to pick. I was looking at Henny Leroux. I was looking at...
Yapi Mulder. We didn't even talk about Yapi Mulder.
Henny Leroux, Yapi Mulder, Devet Barry. You've got Robbie Fleck in that position as well. There were so many great centres coming through over the years. But I think the ones that we picked today were the outstanding.
Yeah, and again, like you say, you can. It's one or the other. Six of the one, half a dozen of the other. Doesn't
Correct.
really matter. They won't drop you. Okay, fly off.
I had to go with Andre.
Andre Pollard.
Andre
so
Pollard.
did I.
Yeah. 2 World Cups, Mr. Consistent. He's just, you just know always what you're going to get from him. Reads the game well, fantastic in defense, good in offense as well, and his kicking, both out of hand and off the deck, is without question. So, Andre, 78 caps, 767 points, I think. So, that in itself is just...
He should retire at the end of his career as the top point scorer in Springbok rugby. So, and he should hopefully get to 100 tests. So he's not done yet. I think he still has another World Cup in him.
Yeah.
But he's proved time and time again, under pressure, he gets the job done. But it's not just his kicking. Again, strategically, tactically, he's very astute. He's got great kicking out of hand. He does, he's maybe not the flashiest fly-off, but he can distribute the ball well, and we score a lot of tries when he plays fly-off. We saw it in that test against Argentina, not the one in Nelspruit, the one in Argentina. We didn't win the game, but we scored like 3 tries in the first 15 minutes, and he was just running the back line. So
that's what a good fly-off.
He can play that game.
That's what a good fly-off should do, is to read the game and see the vision and see where the gaps are going to be, and to put the people outside him into those positions. And so if you got speedsters, if you got Mapimpis, Chesman Colbys, coming through, Apalele Fassis running into space or the like, and you can see where the ball needs to be in order for them to exploit that.
Yeah.
That's your man. So you don't have to be flash. You have to read the game, and he reads it so well.
Yeah, no, I agree. And there's a couple of notable mentions. Henry Honeyball, Mornay Steyn, Butch James, Joel Stransky were the ones that came to mind, but none of them are as classy as Andre.
I looked at all of those individuals. Honeyball Lem was one of my favorites of all time. Also being a Sharks poikie.
Yeah.
I just one of the chirps as when Peter Muller moved from the Cheetahs to the Sharks, and it was in the SA Rugby magazine or SA Sports Illustrated, and there's a write-up, and they asked him why he moved, and he said, so that Lem can't tackle me anymore.
That's a good
it's
enough
a good
reason.
line. It's a good, so fair enough, but he was great as, again, another fly-off that had good vision. His defense, though, you hear about the tour, Nick Mallett was making a comment, I think, or that tour where it was the end of, I think they had 18 wins or 17, 18 wins on the trot. And Lem was sitting in the, Henry Honeyball was sitting in the change rooms afterwards, and he was black and blue. Your man just stood up as a defensive 10, and he could kick, and he could put people into space. So
no, he was great. Loved him. Loved Lem.
In terms of stats, appearances, and points, very hard to differentiate between Henry Pollard and Mornay Steyn. Mornay Steyn's points accumulation, outstanding. But I think strategically, we give it 100.
Yeah, agree. Okay. The most difficult position where I've got 2 names down, I couldn't pick. Who did you pick at scrum off?
It has to be Free to Prayer for me.
Why?
So I think it's hard to... Joost has a better appearance and points tally. The diehards would say Joost was a better fly half. Both in blue bullets. Scrum half.
Yeah.
Both in blue bullets, so you're happy either way.
Well,
the thing for me personally, I didn't enjoy Joost. He used to do this thing where you'd be at the back of the mall and he would look up and sometimes you just want him to get the ball out to the fly off, and he'd do it so often. He was sensational. Don't get me wrong. Like, he was outstanding as a player, but there were just a couple of things that he did that didn't tickle me right as a fan, and so I went with Free de Prayer.
Okay, so Matt's nitpicking. Okay,
Yeah.
so you didn't pick Joost. I went, Joost plays 40 minutes, Free de Prayer plays 40 minutes.
No,
It's debatable who
it's-
needs to start. So the one will play and the other one will be on the bench because it's impossible. And as a Blue Bull who is biased, I'll admit that I'm biased, it's impossible to pick between these guys because they're vastly different scrum halves. Joost was a bigger player, more physically imposing.
Yeah.
Free de Prayer was tactically more astute, had a better kicking game.
Yeah.
Joost was very instinctive, like he could break around the ruck, and he scored tries that no one was ever allowed to score. I remember
popping his head up. That's
but that's where he saw the space. And I'll show this when we do this video. There's a very famous try he scored against England in 1995, where he just ran down the touch line, chipped over Will Carling, scored in the corner. It's like no one would have scored that try. So Joost was a bit of a freak, naturally talented rugby player. Who I think he was the better rugby player in general. Like, if you just take scrum half out of the equation, Free de Prayer was probably the tactically better
Scrum half.
player in that position.
Yeah.
Where Joost had a little bit more versatility. So I would probably, in that scenario, I would start with Free de Prayer until the game is, because with this team you will not lose, I promise you. Until the game is secure and you bring Joost on in the second half and he'll score 2 or 3 more tries. So, but they both deserve to be there. And Faf has won 2 World Cups. Kobus Reinach has won 2 World Cups. I'm sorry, they don't hold a candle to either of these guys.
Ruan Pienaar is another notable mention.
Notable mention, but not up to that level.
Not up to that level. So, yeah, for me, look, Joost's stats, 89 appearances, 109 points, surpass Free de Prayer's points tally, which was 76 appearances and 80 points. So he scored more and made more points, but I think, as you say, strategically for that particular position, I'd still err towards Free de Prayer.
Okay, well,
You're 50-50.
I'm sitting on the fence because they will both get game time in this team.
Fair enough.
Okay. What's even more difficult to pick than any of the positions that we discussed was loose forward. What does your loose trio look like?
So I've gone with Skalkberger, Peter Steph du Toit, and Dwayne Vermeulen as my 6, 7, 8.
So have I.
Oh, really?
I went with exactly the same.
It's good.
But it was really difficult. Like, I made my notes and I scribbled out Ruben Creer's name because I've got a soft spot for the man. Of course. He was one of those, I think his nickname was the Silent Assassin. He was just phenomenal. Absolute beast of a player. Andre Venter is another guy who was very difficult to leave out. So was Jean Smith.
Yeah.
They were all really difficult not to pick, and Sia Kolisi as well. Let's give credit to Sia.
100%.
But you can't look past that. I agree with you, mate. Dwayne Vermeulen at 8, Peter Steph at 7, Skalkberger at 6. I mean,
Skalkberger, 85 appearances, 80 points, 2004 IRB Player of the Year, 2007 Rugby World Cup winner. Dwayne Vermeulen, 76 appearances, 25 points, 2 Rugby World Cups, IRB Player of the Year nominee in 2014.
Man of the match in the 2019 World Cup final.
Correct. And then Peter Steph du Toit, 84 appearances, 55 points, 2-time World Player of the Year, 2019, 2024, 2 Rugby World Cup wins. He's just king.
No, there's no way you leave Peter Steph out. I mean, there might still be guys that will argue for a Pierre Spies or a, Heinrich Bressau or somebody to come in, but Peter Steph for me is non-negotiable.
He was the first name I put on that list. When we were making this list, he was the first one that went on there.
Yeah, no, he's that good, and he is in the prime of his career. Like, he's playing phenomenal rugby.
Yeah.
I thought that would be more debatable, loose trio, but we were on the same page.
Those names that you mentioned as well, Heinrich Bressau, there's a lot of really solid talent in the loose trio. Pierre Spies, you mentioned as well, that South Africa has produced over the years. Gary Teichmann at 8 was another formidable name to.
But even in the years where we struggled, between 1999 and when Jake took over in 2004, guys like Corné Krieger, André Vos, Joe van Niekerk, they were fantastic players.
Big Joe.
Big Joe was awesome.
Now chilling on the islands.
Yeah. No, what a great player.
He was amazing. Bobby Skinstad as well.
Bob Skinstad deserves a mention. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, huge. So all of those guys you look at and, are all worthy of a mention, but the three that we clearly have agreed on.
We're not arguing
stand up.
This one.
Yeah, they stand up.
Okay, locking partnership.
Again, hard. Okay.
It was tricky.
So hard, but I've gone with Eben and Victor.
Yeah, so have I.
Jesus.
Two most capped players in Springbok history.
Yeah.
Very difficult to leave someone like Bucky's out because Bucky's was just a volatile player. Like if you look at how he played, everything was done at pace. Like he would go into a ruck head first and just dive in there. Like
he was an enforcer.
He was volatile.
Yeah, but an enforcer. He would go in there.
Yeah.
Victor was, as a pairing, Victor was the strategic thinker. Bucky's was there to hurt people. And you kind of need that in that locking partnership, and they dovetailed each other so well, which is why they did well at the Bulls and why they did well for the Springboks. But another name that I thought was worthy of a mention was Mark Andrews.
Mark Andrews, I had him on my list as well. Yeah, fantastic player.
Yeah,
and it's a shame that someone like him, often gets looked over when people talk about the greatest Springbok teams because, again, he was awesome. But I think over the last 4 years, probably Eben has overtook Bucky's as the prominent number 4 in Springbok history, and he deserves his place. I mean, he's just phenomenal. He's been consistently good. He should have been World Rugby Player of the Year in 2022, I believe. Yeah, he's awesome.
Mate, there were so many to look at as well. Kobus Wiese, Johan Ackerman, Andries Becker. There was like so many great.
Yeah, and Franco Mostert.
Franco Mostert as well.
Arceus Snyman.
Yeah, the names just roll off, but these two, Victor, again, has won everything, both the provincial and...
No, he's the GOAT.
He's the GOAT.
The GOAT.
And when it came to lineouts, was there anyone better in the world?
Yeah, set piece. He just never lost the ball. Didn't lose a lineout, didn't lose a kickoff.
And the captaincy that he had was outstanding as well. So again, strategic. So I've gone with captains in my teams.
Got it.
But yeah, and then Eben's record, most recently, has been promoted and talked about a lot because of the accolades that he's received. But he's worthy of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we agree on the loose trio and in the locking partnership. Who did you pick in the front row?
My front row, I went Beast and Taurua, John Smit and Frans Malherbe.
Interesting. That is interesting. That is going to be a debate.
Okay.
I went with Frans Malherbe at 3, Bismarck at hooker, and Oosterand at loosehead.
Yeah.
I couldn't leave Oos out, double World Cup winner. I don't think people realize how difficult it was for him to come back after he retired from rugby.
He went back
in 2000.
to the blast.
Exactly. Had horrible knees, and he came back and he won another World Cup.
And he looked, when at the 2007 World Cup, he looked strong. Like he
was strong.
He must have gone through, like he looked fit. So he must have, because you see it happen. The moment you retire, maybe you get on the sauce, eat a few more burgers than you should. You're not running around the park as much. So to go from that and then come out of retirement and then make the World Cup final and win a gold medal, fair play.
And he retired at the top of his game. I couldn't leave Oos out. Good scrummager, good around the park, made his tackles. Like he would often cover when somebody broke the line. He would be the guy covering. It's like you cannot believe that a loose head prop could tackle like that. So I couldn't leave him out. Why did you go with Beast?
So I'll get to Beast in a minute. The one that I struggled with the most, which actually was the easiest pick, was tight head. Because France holds that position.
Head and shoulders above
him. I tried to find other people that could give him some kind of competition, but he's made that position his own. So Frans Malherbe, we both agree that's his.
Yeah.
Why I went with Beast? Maybe a bit of the Zimbabwean connection, right?
Of course.
And
he played for the Sharks.
But he just was a man mountain. And every time he had the ball, he got the crowd up for it. Every time he was in the scrum, and the scrumming that he did in the 2019 World Cup in particular.
I think Dan Cole is still having nightmares.
So for me, I think, again, just the most amazing human. Come down against adversity from Zimbabwe, got into the Sharks setup, and then ended up playing. He played 117 caps for the Springboks.
Yeah.
So for me, that consistency, that longevity, because it's hard to play 100 plus caps at prop.
Yeah, it is.
And so for me, I maybe had a bit of a bias there because of that Zimbabwean connection, but I went with it.
No, that's okay. These things are always subjective, and I can't argue with that. Like, Beast will not drop you in a team like this. Fair point. Hooker was an interesting one. You went with John Smith.
So
is that in line with your leadership theme, or do you think he was the best hooker we've produced in the last 30 years?
I think it was in line with the leadership theme. He was also a Sharks boykie, so I had a bit of bias there. But what I really liked about John as a hooker, so he may not have been the best hooker, but he was a strategic thinker, like Victor. I appreciate when rugby players, both forwards and backs, have an appreciation of the game and they think about the game. So they're not just there to scorp the ball or put the ball under the arm and run through people. They have a strategic and tactical appreciation of what's going on. And John was that. Like, he knew how to manage the team, manage the game, manage the time, manage the refs. Like, great captain throughout. So I went with him. Captain 64 times. Was IRB Hall of Famer, 2011, World Cup winner 2007, Tri-Nations winning captain 2004, 2009. Like, hard to leave him out.
No, he's got the credentials. And you know what? Again, like Damien Dallender, I don't think he gets the credit he deserves. He was a better player than people remember. I know he kept the likes of Gary Botha and Skalk Brits out of the Springbok side when Jake White became coach in 2004, and there was a lot of criticism. But he deserves a mention. I just couldn't look past Bismarck, which is interesting because currently we've got two world-class hookers in the current squad.
Yeah.
In Malcolm, Marx, and Bongi, and a lot of people will say Marx is the best ever. But again, if you look at Bismarck and his play, mate, in his prime, he was immovable. He was unbelievable, and he was probably, out of all the hookers that I could think of, the best at set piece. Like, his line-out throws. Hardly ever missed a line-out throw, where Malcolm, every now and again, he's got an off day and he doesn't find his jumpers.
So Malcolm was my backup. I was looking at either John or Malcolm, and the reason I went with John and Malcolm above Busy, because I love Busy, again, another Sharkies boy, is Bismarck had a tendency to give away a yellow card or a red card every now and again.
Only if he makes legitimate tackles on Dan Carter.
On Dan Carter. Let's talk about that, which it wasn't a red card. It wasn't a yellow card.
It still hurts us.
You know that I was in the stands for that game.
Yeah, I know.
Parallel.
You told me.
I was at Eden Park Parallel when that happened. Anyway,
it doesn't bug us at all. Still, 12 years later.
I almost decked about 12 people around me. Anyway, that's the story.
No, he did play rugby on the edge, very much like Bucky's.
Yeah.
Like, you push the boundaries, you see what you can get away with, and often it didn't work. So
what I loved about Busy is that he was incredible at fetching at the breakdown as well.
Awesome at the breakdown.
He was so solid, so strong that if he got over the ball, right, that was a turnover that we were getting that penalty.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic. But however many penalties he got us, he had a tendency to maybe give some away. So. And if you look at it, I think Malcolm Marx has a similar ability to, at the breakdown, turn over for us.
Yeah, fair point.
So for me, that kind of fetcher, jackling type hooker, Busy was great at it, but Malcolm Marx is as good. And so that's the reason I went with those
very
two.
difficult to pick between the two of them because they're very similar type players.
Malcolm Marx I went with, obviously, as a backup because 71 tests and 100 points. Like, no one has scored more in that position.
He scored a lot of tries, always from the back of the maul though.
Sure, and I know that's a setup of the 8-man team rather than him individually, but you still got them as...
Matt, be honest. Can you just be honest for 1 second? Did your wife tell you to include Malcolm Marx in your team?
My wife didn't tell me to include Malcolm Marx in my team. I included that all on my lonesome.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
My wife, for those watching, has a particular... sparkle in her eye whenever Malcolm Marx runs onto the team, or onto the field. So,
okay, just checking.
And to be fair, I've got that same sparkle whenever he runs on as well. So fair play to you, boy.
Well done, Malcolm.
I think for different reasons.
Yeah, you've made Matt's team well done.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a big accolade to be included in your team. Okay, well, I mean, very few arguments in our starting 15, but the bench was tricky because now we've revolutionized the impact player, right? In the 90s, it was guys like Ollie Leroux and Bob Skins that came on, made an impact, 20 minutes left, whatever. But now, like Rassi's introduced this idea of the bomb squad, and we know that it takes 23 players to go and beat the best in the world. So how did you approach your bench?
Quickly, just a shout out to Ollie Leroux, because I was doing a bit of research on this. Your man's run a marathon recently. He's doing well in his chicken farming. He's part of a financial services business after he retired in rugby. And like, to be fair, he was one of my favorite players at prop. But
Ollie Leroux has also contributed like loads and loads of footage to our Real Rugby archive.
Is it?
So yeah, shout out from both of us.
Yeah, nice one. Good on you, boy.
Yeah.
My bench, I went with a 5-3. Okay, so I went with Ors on my bench. Okay. Malcolm Marx and Oxenchair.
Okay.
As my...
Two loose heads.
So...
Interesting.
Well, John Smith can also play prop.
Technically, yes. He has played tight head.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So that's why I went with that kind of mix. And then couple of... This is... It was hard.
That's what she said.
I went with Sia on the bench.
Okay.
Two-time World Cup winning captain. 92 tests, 60 points. I think he has so much heart and passion and love for the Springboks and for our country that no matter what time you send him onto that field, he's going to be running through oaks. So I think as an impact player, he's better. I think he's better on the field from the beginning, but John Smith was really on the field and he was my captain.
And difficult to leave a guy like Sia out.
Yeah, and so Sia's on my bench. I then went with, it was hard because you kind of have Quagga as well as an option player to come in, but I went with Bob Skinstad on my bench.
Great impact player.
Yeah, great impact player.
Great off the bench.
42 tests, 55, 12 times captain of SA as well. 55 points he scored himself. That we've showcased it on a different show, but where he runs right on the 5-yard, does a little dummy, brings it behind his back, and then scores under the post. It's
Mate,
such an image.
He scored some great tries. And while we're showing Bob Skinstad some love, is this your way of trying to get Bob on the show at some point? Because he's here in the UK with us.
Potentially, he's down in Woking. I bumped into him once when I was there, just briefly. He didn't know who I was. I clearly knew who he was. But yeah, he's down and working. My family are down and working. I might go down and see them sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, that's a good shout. I have no qualms about that.
Yeah, so Sia and Bob is my sort of loosies. And then, again, hard to pick three backs. But
before we get to the backs, you had Sia, Bob,
those are my loosies. Malcolm, Ox,
and Ors. Okay.
And also,
your 5.
Tight head was very difficult for me. I didn't know who else to pick at tight head.
Okay.
So that's why, again, Ox got a mention.
I'm sure Ox can scrum at tight head as well.
We'll put him there.
He'll scrum anywhere.
Exactly. We'll put him there. So hard to leave those boys out. Who'd you go for?
Give me your backline first. Who's your 3 backline reserves?
So I went with JP Peterson.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So again, 70 caps, 120 points. Versatile, can play wing, can play center.
Can play fullback.
Made
his debut at fullback.
Correct. Also, just loved the way he played. Tall, strong, beautiful stride, could run through people, massive on defense, and was just a man mountain.
Yeah, underrated player. Again, that combination with a banner, he was so good in his prime.
So great.
So good.
So yeah, another Sharks boy. So a bit of leaning to my boykies again, but went with JP. And then, this is going to shock you, but I went with Ruan Pina on my bench.
Versatility. I get it.
Can play 9, can play 10.
Can play fullback.
Right? Yeah. And then my final is Mr. Versatile himself, Francois Steyn.
Oh, you went with Stanky on the bench.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've got 3 world-class players. There's Rugby World Cup winners throughout this team. They're all versatile, but I think with that kind of strength up front, versatility in the midfield as well, Sia being able to play 8, or on the flanks. Bob as well could play on the side or an eighth man where he preferred. Ball players throughout, strength in the back line, guys coming on. I think that's a good team.
That's a good team, mate. I mean, they'll beat anyone on their day. My bench, I went with Malcolm Marx, my backup hooker, and then I went with Ox and Che at loose head and Vince Koch at tight head. I like Vince Koch because he can also scrum on loose head and tight head side. Ox, I think, is more just like a loose head.
For me, it was the flip between the two.
Yeah, but again, so difficult to leave out Beast. Like, I was really conflicted. Like, how do you not pick him? But I think the way Ox is playing currently, I mean, there were calls for him, like, how was he not nominated for World Player of the Year last year? I mean, he's just phenomenal. And for me, a prop, your number one role on the field is win the set piece, go and win the scrums. And that's what he's good at. Like, he breaks people in half, he gets penalties. We would not have won that semi-final against England if he was not on the field. Yep. Like, he won us that game. Okay, with Pollard kicking the penalty, but he got us in the position to win that game. And I think his impact on the field is maybe a little bit more than Beast.
The only reason why he wasn't because they couldn't pick 3 South Africans to be World Players of the Year.
Exactly. That's a fair point. But I went with Malcolm, Oxenchair, Vinnie Koch, who I'm a really big fan of. Great tight head.
Just incredible.
Then at lock, I picked Bucky's on the bench.
Okay.
I thought, yes, bring him on. This team does all the hard work for 60 minutes. Bring Bucky's on hungry. With 20 to go against the All Blacks. He'll smash them. And then I went with Johan Smith.
Okay.
As my loose.
Versatile.
He can play number 8. He made his debut at number 8, played flank for most of his career. And then another versatile player. Like I said, there's a theme in my team, versatility. It's Dani Rousseau, who for some reason you knew I picked him. I don't know how you knew that.
You just got a love for Dani Rousseau, but also he's an amazing player. He's a blue buller. He was just solid.
Dude, he was awesome. And it's not because his jersey is hanging over there. So, but Donnie was amazing because, again, he could play lock. He could play flank. He played flank a lot for the Bulls, and he played number 8 for the Springboks in the World Cup final in 2007. So brings that versatility, hard as nails, strong ball carrier. He's won everything in rugby. Like, if you go through everyone's records, like he started, I think he won the Carlton Cup in Pretoria with Tuckies when he was a student. Won the Vodacom Cup, won the Currie Cup, won Super Rugby, won the Tri-Nations, won the World Cup. He won the Champions Cup with Toulon. He won the Japan Top League, League One competition when he was there. Like, every single team he played for internationally, he won a trophy. It's unbelievable, his record that he has. So,
hey, you've got a shirt, you've given him a shout out. We need to get him on the show next, I think.
I'll dial him in. I'm sure Donnie will be fishing somewhere in Cozy Bay or Bongola, somewhere. He's always fishing. But if I ask him, I'm sure he'll come on. So,
tough that we both left out Franco Mostert. Because again, everything that you said about Donnie, you can say about Franco.
Absolutely. And he's a warrior. Franco Mostert, again, we say this a lot, doesn't get the credit that he deserves. Unbelievable player. I mean, how he played against Wales after coming back from injury. He was out for most of the season. He had a storming game, the last test. So looking forward to what he can bring to the party this year. And maybe he changes our opinion in 2 or 3 years' time. Yeah,
well, again, hard to leave him out, but I can understand why you went with Donnie.
Yeah, so I went with a 6-2 split. Those are my forwards. And in the back line, it's either Joost or Friede Preer. I don't think Friede Preer is the type of player to come off the bench. I'll probably go with Joost on the bench, but he has to be there. Has played wing on the occasion, so there's a little bit of versatility there. But my punter for this team is Damian Willemse on the bench.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So Damian's played roughly the same amount of tests as a guy like Cheslin Colby. He's played 39 tests. He's been around for a couple of years. Can cover fly-off, can cover inside centre, can cover wing. Fullback. I just think he's
play anywhere in the back line.
And that's, I think if you go with a 6-2 split with a scrum off on the bench, you need someone to cover more than one position. I've picked Francois Steyn in the starting lineup. And I just like Damian. I think he's a world-class player. It's sad that he didn't play one test in 2024. Hopefully he's ready this year and we see a full season out of him, because I think with him and a guy like Sasha coming through, I mean, the future is exciting.
Yeah.
I rate Damian Willemse highly.
Yeah.
Who's your captain?
So John would have been my captain.
Okay.
John Smits. And vice captain I would have gone with Jean de Villiers.
Okay, I would have gone with the Bulls duo of Victor Matfield and Fourie de Pre, captain and vice captain. Yeah, I think with Victor on the team, he can captain any side. He was really good.
John Smith's captain. Fourie de Pre, I think, was captain at Bulls.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He was at one point.
But so we got John Smith in my team, Victor Matfield, Jean de Villiers,
Sia on the bench.
Sia on the bench. Bob Skinstad was captain 12 times.
Yeah.
Like, there was just South African captains through. And again, you mentioned a couple of names. Kone Krika was hard to leave off.
Yeah.
Good
player.
Again, another captain to consider. So, tough teams to come up against on either side, I think. Who in the world would have been able to beat them?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you need someone to pull this team together and
Correct.
get them to work towards a common goal. So who would you get to coach this team?
So I went with head coach as Rassie.
It's a no-brainer, to be honest. I've also gone with Rassie.
So Rassie, because of not only of his ability as a coach, because again, not just in the Springboks, you hear about the coaching efforts he had previously with the likes of Munster, with the likes of Western Province before. And
Yeah.
like, everyone who's coached by him just talks about him as being the most outstanding and amazing coach. But it's his man management ability and his ability to get the boykies to G up and to pick themselves up and to run through brick walls that I think supersedes anything. So I went with him. His assistant coach, I went with Jake White.
Jeez, mate. I love that combo. I think Jake White will have something to say about that.
Of course, Jake would. Okay, yeah, but like the same thing. If you look at 2007 World Cup, you got Jake White as head coach, and then assistant coach for the Springboks is Eddie. And now, if you said to Eddie, "Would you be assistant?" he'd probably have a few barking orders. Back
Yeah, and I mean, technically, Jake started off his coaching career in the top ranks as a technical advisor. He was technical advisor in the '95 World Cup to Ketch Christie. Very few people know that. He was technical advisor under Nick Mallett. He was one of the assistants there. So, I mean, he also did play that role. But I think once you've coached the senior team, it'll be difficult to go back into that role again. But yeah, I mean, that'll be a potent combo. I've got a lot of faith in Rassie. I just gave him the team. Like, you go and do your thing.
So Rassie's my guy.
You can do everything.
So Rassie's my guy. I just think as an assistant, they are. So Jake White was very similar in terms of man management and getting boys. I think the story goes that when he took the job before the 2007 World Cup, I think like 12, 18 months before, he walked into his first meeting with the boys and said to them, "We're winning the World Cup," and everyone kind of laughed.
Yeah.
And he got them, they laughed because they didn't believe in themselves. And he got them to play out of their socks and to believe in themselves, and they went on to win it. So similar in their ability to identify talent, nurture it, and get that talent to believe in itself.
Yeah, absolutely right. Again, great pick.
One has 2 World Cups, the other has 1. So that's why I went head coach and assistant.
Okay, fantastic. So those are our teams. What do you guys think? Always very difficult to pick these sort of fantasy sides. I'm sure it will open up a lot of debate. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Follow us on YouTube, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We're everywhere. Yeah. So go and follow the Real Rugby page. Matthew, thank you. That was fantastic.
Shot, brother.
Cheers to the Springboks.
Cheers to the Bokke.
And let's see how 2025 goes.
Cheers, lads.
Cheers.